Overwatch 2 is dead. Long live Overwatch! Who cares? As detailed in a 30-minute spotlight published yesterday, Overwatch is reinventing itself yet again, just like HBO Max to Max to Cinemax to Max to HBO Max. We can't even keep track anymore. They dropped the 2 on Overwatch, and they're adding a year-long story arc, 10 new heroes, and a meta event with new lore-based missions and rewards. Welcome to Inside Games Daily, the only game news show brave enough to still feel like something is off.
Something's a little weird. I guess what better way to signal that you're out of the era of meaningless rebrands than to rebrand all over again? But I guess it needed to be done. You know, that too was a little awkward on the end. Also, I don't know, this whole spotlight, I watched the whole thing, and I can only really take so much sort of like faux enthusiastic, dead-eyed, over-rehearsed, rigidly media-approved corpo speak. And I don't want to be mean, because they seem like nice people, but yowza, there's just something robotic and kind of wrong about it.
This is going to be epic.
Bruce, for example, did you know the stakes have never been higher? We've never done so much in Overwatch, and this is the exact time. Everything's going to be great. And despite doing all this in the past, apparently this is the first time that a lot of these things are happening in Overwatch. Listen, I'm still spiteful about Overwatch 2 and the PvE content getting cut. I was really excited for that, so until it shows up, and it's still not showing up, they don't have me back yet. They don't have me.
They don't have a lot of people, Lawrence. I am shocked that they did not rebrand and launch the single player stuff. So, all right, let's get into this kind of sort of news here. Yesterday's Overwatch Spotlight opens with a CG short in which newish character Vendetta lives up to her name. She's here to take over Talon, Overwatch's vaguely terroristic cadre of villains, and she does after exchanging blows and cliches with Doomfist.
Yeah, did you know she's sad because someone stole her bike as a child? And then there's even a scene where she's like, I'm going to take over your organization. It's a shame you won't be here to see what happens. And then throws him out of a window where he falls off of into a void with no corpse. I don't know. It's just like something used to work about this, and now I can't stop rolling my eyes. Anyway, okay, again, I got to stop it. All right. There's a new these events. This lore kicks off the Reign of Talon, and that's a 6-season arc that'll run the rest of the year.
Okay, season 1, which launches on February 10th, it comes with 5 new heroes. So here they are. You've got a Robo Dominatrix, Brooding Gunman, Cyber Ninja. Well, I think we already have a Cyber Ninja. Chinese, Cyber Ninja, and then perhaps the most inspired of the bunch, Jetpack Cat.
Yeah, Jetpack Cat. Hey, you put a jetpack on a cat, you got a winner. Although it really does seem like they just asked ChatGPT to generate a character like Rocket Raccoon, but make it a little cuter. Just swap the words, you know?
Yeah, that's what they did. Heroes will be divided into sub-roles now, too, with each sub-role granting some kind of specific perk.
Each role will have new sub-roles, all of which will have unique new passives tailored directly to the skill set and combat style they bring to Overwatch.
Yeah, this gets complicated. So, for example, you've got like a tank, but then there's the Initiator subclass. That's a character like D.Va that heals slightly while they're in the air, while a support tactician like Ana can stack excess ultimate charge that carries over to the next one after you use your ultimate. So that's kind of cool.
Sure. Season 1 also launches with Conquest, a mission-based event that has you working for Overwatch or Talon to earn in-game rewards.
Now, the blog post says you can switch allegiances, and this somehow means that it, quote, makes every choice matter. And man, I'm okay.
Favorite.
It's a new Inside Games thing. Every time we hear or see that phrase, we got to shout it out because that's a beautiful video game phrase. Also, isn't it literally the opposite of your choices mattering if you can just switch? That means your choices don't matter. Anyway, thank you, ChatGPT, for generating a lot of blog copy.
I don't want to be cynical about any of this, but you're not wrong, Lawrence. You're not. Blizzard signals that this year-long story arc will include a renewed focus on the game's story, but does not have the PvE content. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, still doesn't. Nope. They say that this story will have a proper beginning, middle, and end. I guess the beginning is Vendetta taking over Talon. This story will be delivered in the usual methods: motion comics, in-game events, voice lines, animated hero trailers, and short stories. And all this will be viewable in-game. There'll be like a lowerable, viewable thing in-game, so that's neat. Frankly, this is what I thought they were going to start doing very quickly after the launch of Overwatch, and then they just didn't. So they're doing it now, so that's cool. I keep going like, come on, that's sweet. This is cool, right? We like that.
And there might be one that still cares about esports out there. And for that person, we do have some info, right, Lawrence?
Yes, indeed, we do. The Overwatch Champions series starts this weekend with a boot camp in Seoul. The full season launches on March 21st, and the World Finals will take place in China this year. There's also the Overwatch Cup. That'll return along with BlizzCon, though no other details about that were provided.
Other small bits. There's going to be a competitive rank reset. Of course, they're adding new mythic skins. Post-match accolades are coming back. And they're doing a brand integration with Hello Kitty.
I mean, the skins are cute, but also, I don't know, I'm exhausted of brand integrations with service shooters. Just like Activision are doing all the brands with COD, and I guess they're now Overwatch is trying to get in the action. And to that point, like the big mode they're adding, it's really just daily objectives. It's daily quests. It's an engagement tool with a lot of window dressing on it. So it's fine, but it's not they did a whole lot of talking up of what amounts to not really a ton of content. The 5 heroes at once that's a lot, but there's no new maps. It doesn't seem like they may have just added some. I have to admit, I'm not really following Overwatch. It's just really to try to explain my cynicism, I guess. The spotlight in general left a bad taste in my mouth, and it's not the fault of anyone that was in it. It's more, it's just like very over-rehearsed, very lifeless, very desperately overselling the game. There's a lot of just like faux over-enthusiasm. And it's kind of synonymous with big corpo stuff, but that's really the aroma it left me with. Which really just reminds me of how we got here, which is the Overwatch 2 announcement, all the stuff they said they would make and then just didn't. Just the ridiculousness of announcing a sequel in the first place. It was all just marketing plays, and it's hard to not think about this like the same, even though there is something here. So I don't know. I think I'm still holding on to the wounds of the past, and I don't know if I can get over them, Bruce. I think it's just too much.
I think a lot of people are like you, and I think a lot of people have moved on to Marvel Rivals. And when you were saying, because you messaged me on Discord while you were writing the story, you said the stakes have never been higher, and we're tired of hearing that phrase, by the way. But they truly are. The stakes are very high for the people at Blizzard because their jobs are on the line. Like, this is it. I'm pretty sure that if this does not deliver the way they need to deliver, they're going to start really cutting people over there. And that's kind of what's weird about this update to Overwatch. Again, I'm like Lawrence. I haven't played Overwatch in years. Used to follow this game daily. Loved it. Overwatch 2, I think I played a good amount when it came out, but I sort of just fell off. This feels to me like someone in management was like, we have to rebrand and relaunch, but not do anything. And I hate that. They're like, what's the least amount of work we can do to rebrand and reinvent? This is it. Where they're like, well, do motion comics and like do daily objectives. Like, no fucking shit. Like all this other stuff that every other hero shooter that's a games as a service has. Like, what are we doing? It's for years this community has been begging for the PvE content. If they had said, all right, it's not Overwatch 2, it's Overwatch, here's the PvE content, that's all they had to do. They didn't have to make any fucking charts with sub tanks and tacticians. None of that bullshit. Just be like, here's the PvE, we said we were going to do it, here it is. But they have to then have people work. They have to have people code this stuff, and that's a lot of work. It's hard. So they didn't do any of that. They instead said, 5 new heroes.
That's I think you've nailed it. It feels all of this feels like extremely top-heavy game development, which is rebrand image, talk it up, run this script through ChatGPT 50 times until it looks like an executive. Looks good to me. Yes, those words would convince somebody. But all you're doing is chopping up and rearranging the assets that you have because you don't want to pay people to make anymore. And it does kind of feel like that's where it's at. Yeah, when I was like first getting introduced to this, then there was this new mode, Conquest. I was like, oh, okay, so it's like a PvE mode or something. No, they're not even experimenting with the PvE stuff they were doing in the game back then. It's just all gone. I can only presume that they just looked at some engagement charts and PvE was like that. So they were like, never again. Maybe even the same people that were involved with the production of this thing. So it's for their sake and everything, I hope they find their audience and that audience is happy. I'll just say it like that.
Me too. And I don't want to beat a dead horse. However, though, Lawrence, we just reported on Fallout and Bethesda and how they got acquired by Microsoft. Well, this is kind of the same thing. They got acquired by Microsoft. Kind of feels like they're chilling, and I'm not saying that the developers themselves are chilling. I'm saying that the management above them is sort of like, let's just do a little work. You know, we got to eventually bring some players back. Let's not kill ourselves. And again, totally fine with that. But there are consequences to this. There are. Like, it's eventually, if you've got thousands of employees, you're going to probably have to cut a few employees if you're not doing a lot of work. And I think this is mismanagement, just like at Bethesda.
Oh, I think absolutely. It was the esports gold rush that pretty much sidetracked and buried Overwatch. You had a bunch of Rolex wearing douchebags kind of swing through, try to turn this game into a franchise. I mean, Kotick wanted a sports organization. That was basically his last play at Activision, is trying to own his own sports league by cultivating Overwatch into that. And it absolutely killed it as any kind of fun game, and laid a bunch of extremely unrealistic expectations at the foot of the game and its performance. So they had to chase those expectations, which dragged them away from any of the content that would appeal to me, or I think onboard new players, like PvE content or something that would be a less annoying way to get into the world and the characters and all that stuff, instead of just getting rocked by people who've played this for 10 years now. Good Lord. So yeah, that's why it's disappointing to me. Is there was a lot of potential here, but the desire, it just got strip mined, and now it's just it's got the black lung. All those scars of the past are still there. And yeah, Bruce, to your point, I don't know if it's going to get the kind of investment, but it reminds me back in the content days how people that would manage us would just see the revenues from podcasts, and they would just make podcasts. Why are you doing anything? Podcasts make all the money. But what we knew from our perspective is that you had to make more invested content or more produced content to drive interest to watching the podcast. You had to make the content that had a lower rate of return to enable the greater rate of return down the road. I feel like that's the case with games like this. They have to make an investment in content that the graph doesn't say generates a lot of money, but it does get people in that end up potentially converting into those customers that do generate a lot of money. So yeah, to me, that's the side victim of the esports obsession, or the esports expectation that it would produce these massively overvalued returns in a massively overvalued bubble that completely, I guess that all drained into crypto, and then crypto all drained into AI. So that's where we're at now.
Man, it's so sad, because you're right. Overwatch is such a great game. They really made a good game. And you're absolutely right. It's been strip mined, Warren. It's a great way to put it.
Yeah, that's business. And that's why we're doing what we do independently, so that we can continue working on what we want without necessarily the constant pressure to make it cheaper or faster or for more money or for less money. Cheaper, faster, and generate more money. That's the trifecta that everybody always wants. And we get to do that because you choose to watch the episode. So thank you very much for doing that. If you feel extra motivated, you can check out our Patreon. We post all our content there for free. I pick out a meme and post it with every episode. And some people that visit the Patreon, see, it's the funnel, right? This is what the executives are juiced at this. Some folks that visit our Patreon and enjoy all those free memes decide to support the show. They're extra special. We love them very much. So I'm going to shout a few of them out right now. Thank you very much, Jonathan Lenowski, Pitstrip, Rook, Hero of Nern, and E. Compton 3 for you're covering that hole in the bank account that all those Overwatch skins created. We've healed since then. Will all those skins even be there anymore, I wonder? They carried over. They should all be all there. Otherwise, there'd be an even worse uproar, let me tell you. Not Call of Duty, is it? Not yet.